The pro-Russian separatist forces of the war in Donbas, or the United Armed Forces of Novorossiya, is the umbrella name for the militias and armed volunteer groups affiliated with the unrecognized political union called Novorossiya. It consists of the Donbas People's Militia, the Luhansk People's Militia and autonomous armed groups. They are designated as terrorist groups by the government of Ukraine. The Donbas People's Militia was formed by Pavel Gubarev, who was elected People's Governor of Donetsk Oblast. It was originally involved in taking control of Ukrainian government buildings in the oblast. Tensions increased to the point of the militia being actively involved in fighting a war against the Ukrainian government in the Donbas region of Ukraine. The militia was accused by the Ukrainian government of culpability in the shooting down of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 on the 17th of July 2014. But the Donetsk People's Republic disputed this claim. The militias of the Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic merged on the 16th of September 2014, forming the United Armed Forces of Novorossiya. It is widely believed that the separatists are supported by the Russian armed forces. Although the Russian government often denies direct involvement, stating that their soldiers were there voluntarily and not under orders, some of them were captured with documents that said otherwise. The separatists have admitted receiving supplies from Russia and being trained there. BBC reported that separatist ranks are composed of thousands of Russian citizens. Registered Cossacks of the Russian Federation have been reported to also be supporting the separatists. DPR head Alexander Zakhachenko claimed in August 2014 that there are around 3,000 to 4,000 Russian volunteers fighting for the militia, which includes current and many retired Russian army servicemen. Since September 2015, the separatist units, at the battalion level and up, are acting under direct command of Russian army officers, with former local commanders sometimes serving as their deputies. On the 3rd of March 2014, during the 2014 pro-Russian unrest in Ukraine, groups of protesters took control of the regional administration building in Donetsk. A newly created armed opposition group named the Donbas People's Militia participated in it and was led by Pavel Gubarev. This happened when 11 Ukrainian cities with significant populations of ethnic Russians erupted in demonstrations against the new Ukrainian government. On the 6th of April 2014, 2,000 pro-Russian protesters rallied outside the regional administration building. On the same day, groups of protesters in eastern Ukraine stormed the regional administration building in Kharkiv and the SBU headquarters in Luhansk. The groups created a People's Council and demanded a referendum like in Crimea. Within a few days, several government buildings in cities such as Kramatorsk and Sloviansk were also stormed. On the 12th of April, the supporters of the Donetsk People's Republic and members of Donbas People's Militia set up checkpoints and barricades in Sloviansk. The same day, former members of the Donetsk Berkut unit joined the ranks of the Donbas People's Militia. On the 13th of April, the newly established Ukrainian government gave the separatists a deadline to disarm or face a full-scale anti-terrorist campaign in the region. Later that day, the first reports of fighting was reported between the People's Militia and Ukrainian troops near Sloviansk, with casualties on both sides. On the 14th of April, members of the Donbas People's Militia blocked Ukrainian military crash trucks armed with Grad missiles from entering the city. On the 15th of April, a full-scale anti-terrorist operation was launched by the Ukrainian government with aim of restoring their authority over the areas seized by the militia. On the 16th of April, the militia entered Sloviansk with 6 BMD airborne amphibious tracked infantry fighting vehicles they obtained from parts of the 25th Airborne Brigade who had switched allegiance. The occupants were disarmed after the vehicles were blockaded by locals. The militia also received one self-propelled 120mm mortar 2S9, known as, on April 20. An unidentified armed group in civilian clothes attacked a militia checkpoint at the entrance to the city of Sloviansk. 3 attackers and 3 members of militia were killed. On May 14, 8 members of militia seized an IMR armored vehicle from Novokramatorski Machino-Stroitelny Zavod. On May 15, the Donbas People's Militia sent an ultimatum to Kiev. They ordered the withdrawal of all Ukrainian troops from Donetsk Oblast on May 17. Several members of the militia seized 2 BRDM unarmed armored vehicles from Severodonetsk and Lysychansk on May 22. The federal state of Novorossiya was declared. On May 23, several members of People's Militia seized another BRDM RKH unarmed armored vehicle from Loskatovica. In July 2014, it was estimated that the manpower of the separatists was around 10,000 to 20,000 personnel. The militia